late 30s, I started having sleeping issues, which only ever became worse. And then I had terrible mood swing issues as well shortly after that, and started to see my family physician, who was also my OBGYN for those things. I wanted to discuss those things with him because my mother had hormone replacement therapy as well, and after 13 years with Prempro, she had developed breast cancer and heart problems. So I wanted to talk to him about what was the best way to handle a lot of my mood swings and see if I could get some sleep, when he recommended that exact hormone replacement therapy for me. And I said, well, I don't think that's a good idea for me because my mother had breast cancer and has irregular heartbeat and other heart issues now. I said, isn't there anything else that we can do? Any more natural therapies? And he recommended antidepressants. And I said, well, gee, antidepressants for menopause? And he said, oh yeah, antidepressants make everything better. And I said, well, gosh, that sounds like kind of a happy pill to me. And he said, well, essentially it is. And at this point in time, I had a nephew who had been taking the Paxil on and off and has tried to kill himself 4 times already throughout his teenage years, and they kept prescribing it to him even though one of the side effects of that drug was suicidal tendencies if you were severely depressed. And I thought, you know, why would I want to take something like that that may have a side effect when my mood swings are all over the map? This does not sound like a good plan to me. And I told him, I said, you know, gee whiz, the drugs haven't been around a long time and nobody knows what the long-term side effects are, and it just didn't sound right that you would be prescribing something like that for menopause. I told him if I needed a happy pill, I'd have a glass or 2 of red wine because that's been around forever, and I know exactly what happens to my body if I drink too much of that. You get cirrhosis of the liver. If you limit it and drink it in moderation, it might actually be good for you. So I said I didn't think I wanted to do that. And that was the best he had to offer. So what happened was I have a huge network of friends, and so you start complaining about your family physician to the girlfriends, and some of them did some reading, and one of my girlfriends pointed me to the Suzanne Summers book and said she'd been doing some, seeing a wellness doctor in Grand Rapids, and suggested that maybe I might do that. And so we began investigating wellness doctors and insurance and who took what insurance, and not a lot of wellness doctors take standard traditional insurance, and neither did the one in Grand Rapids that she saw. So I work in Lansing, and I think I got Dr. Wycoff's name from her sister-in-law. And that's when I had my first appointment at the Wycoff Wellness Center. I think it was probably about 3 years ago now, 4 years ago. I'm generally a skeptical person, and just because somebody has an MD behind their name buys them no more credibility with me than any other person. I'm of the belief that in the end, we are all our own best healthcare advocates. And if you're hearing something like that from your doctor that just sounds flat out nuts to me, then I start investigating other options.
Most women complain about doctors, especially when they're dealing with hormonal issues, that you either have to buck up and deal with it as part of being a woman, or give you a happy pill. Is that insulting to you?
It is. It is highly insulting. More so than highly insulting is it's extremely disappointing. It makes me feel, well, and traditionally women's issues, hormonal issues and such like that, have gotten short shrift, medically speaking. A lot of the medical research and such has always been on men's issues, men's heart problems and such, because the whole field is predominantly, or has been in the past, predominantly male dominated. So yeah, it makes you feel like it's not a legitimate concern. You silly woman, what are you doing here bothering me with such minuscule problems? This is an everyday thing. Learn to deal with it. it almost makes you wonder. The nice thing about Dr. Wycoff is he doesn't actually have to be a female to know how these issues can really impact you on a daily basis. And they do really interfere with your life, your quality of life, and in my case, could interfere with my employment status, because it would not take me much, considering the beast of a boss that I have, to tell him exactly what I think and what time it is, and I'd be down at the unemployment office. I really credit the Wycoff Wellness Center with helping me be able to retain my job. I've had a very difficult time of it in the last couple of years, and I'd be willing to bet that if I hadn't found the bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, that there's a real good chance that I would have said some things to my immediate supervisor that would have resulted in my separation from my employment.
Good for Dr. Wycoff.
Oh, yeah.
You can't afford to be losing more jobs in Michigan.
Right, right. And I can't afford not to be able to come here and see Dr. Wycoff.
You mentioned that you weren't sleeping well.
Right.
How are you sleeping now?
Good. I sleep well.
Feel rested when you wake up?
I do. I do feel rested when I wake up.
And
And I sleep, most nights I get up maybe once to go to the bathroom, but then I can go right back to sleep. Some nights, you know, if I've had a lot of fresh air and exercise, I can sleep the whole night through.
So drastic improvement.
Oh, yeah. And the mood swings. The mood swings. It's a major, major, major improvement. And, you know, I probably don't even know how big of an improvement that is, because we address those at perimenopause, and I have since moved into menopause, and I would have hated to have been here not having had that addressed previously. Like I said, I'm sure I'd be unemployed right now.
I would think it would be tough on personal relationships as well.
Yes.
People just don't seem to understand, do they?
No.
Well, Dr. Wycoff does.
Yes, Dr. Wycoff does.
Again, how has the Wycoff Wellness Center affected your life? When you think about the doctors that you saw before, you ever get a need to run up and tell them, hey, there really was something wrong and I did need a happy pill to take care of the situation? How do you feel about what this center has done for you?
Well, you know, I've done exactly that. I've gone back to that same family physician and say, hey, I've been to the Wycoff Wellness Center, and guess what? You've missed my thyroid all these years. Not that I'd be one to throw something like that right back into somebody's face. But yeah, I've done exactly that. I've gone back to my family physician and said, you know, gee whiz, you've missed this, and this is working well for me, and look at how my weight has improved since I first started seeing you. I would still do my OBGYN stuff with the family guy, and I told him all of this. So yeah, it's improved my life dramatically. I know my attitude is better, my mood swings are less. Not that I'm generally an easy person to be around in close proximity anyway. I can be a pretty demanding, controlling person, but my personal relationships are pretty good right now.
You're just happier.
I am happier. Exponentially happier than when I first arrived here at the Wycoff Wellness Center.
Wonderful.